because it is so atrociously horrible. I cannot even express to you, like, I have never been so down, because I was so worried that it was never gonna go away, because every day was just as bad. Okay, let's talk complications. Let's talk complications that stumped 8 interventional radiologists, 3 gastrointestinal doctors. Yeah. So I have trouble dealing with pain after surgery. I think a lot of it is because I'm coming off the anesthesia. I'm literally just mentally not able to process it like I normally do. You know, with chronic pain, you deal with it all day, every day, at nighttime, all of that. So I think everybody kind of develops mechanisms to help. I think everybody's different. Like, if I'm in a whole heck of a lot of pain, like, I'll actually shake my head back and forth. I open and close my hands, move my feet. You know, I can block it out a whole heck of a lot of time, but after surgery, it's almost like the anesthesia limits my ability to process the pain. So before this surgery, I talked to 7 different people to their face, told them that I can't process pain afterwards, told them about horror stories of several other surgeries that I've been through that were horrible, that I was screaming for hours afterwards because they couldn't get my pain under control. And so I need them to have steps in place to take care of my pain until I'm mentally able to process it again. And, you know, I get the, you know, pet, we do this all the time, you know, we've got you, we've got this covered. So I don't really remember waking up from the G surgery. All I remember is pain. So I don't know how many hours I screamed. I cannot even imagine what the poor other patients in recovery were thinking, because I can't handle it. I can't stop it. I can't calm down. I can't anything. And so I'm screaming. I think it was something like 6 hours before they could actually get it under control, you know. And then you get the same, you shouldn't be feeling like this, you shouldn't have this much pain. I don't know what to tell you, you know. I warned you beforehand, there's nothing I can do about it now. And okay, so they finally knocked me out. I don't know what it finally took to knock me out, but I don't remember anything else at the end of that, the rest of that day. Nothing. So the next day, when I, you know, wake up and all the good stuff, and I'm like T-Rexing on my left side. Everything was on my left side. And like, I'm holding my arm like really close to my side, and I have it like up against me, and I'm literally like T-Rexing. Like, it was awful. And like, I had the pain from the stoma, I had the pain from the sutures, everything was super sore. It really hurt, but I just couldn't imagine what in the world was causing all the rest of it. And getting up and down was unreal. If I could get set up, it was actually okay. Like the sitting to standing was pretty okay because I didn't have to use my abdominal muscles a whole heck of a lot. But on laying back down was horrible because I had to use my core muscles to be able to do it. Sometimes I would be walking and I would like take a half a step wrong, and it was literally like, so my stoma's right there, and it was like, so it's really close to my ribs. Obviously you saw it earlier. So it's really close. And like my sutures, I had one here, and then one below. And it was like this suture was the one that was just like unreal in the bad place. And okay, so nobody in the hospital could figure out what was going on. None of the GIs had seen it, none of the interventional radiologists, none of the physician's assistants had seen it, the nurses had never, and I'm on the GI floor. So anybody that pretty much gets a feeding tube, that's the floor that they're on. So nobody had seen this before. And so what it felt like was, it was like an ice pick being jammed up like under my ribs, but not like, I mean, it hurt here too, but it was mostly like on the side. And it was from pretty much here all the way across my abdomen side, and then all across my back, all the way to my spine. And it felt like every single muscle in this entire area was like being squeezed to death, like by a giant. Like it was just literally like they were squeezing it over and over and over, and like all of my muscles would contract. I couldn't relax enough to get them to let go. And it would hurt all the way up my side, my left shoulder, and then my whole arm. So that's why I was T-Rexing and all that. Part of it was trying to like get away from the pain or hold myself in. So if I was like this, if my hand was like this, I was just trying to hold it all together. But if it was like this, my everything was cramped up. And I went days of that. It was just, oh my God, it was so horrible. And one of the nurses, praise the Lord, because I was describing to her what was going on, and she was like, well, have you tried pain patches? And I'm like, what's a pain patch? And so they have these patches that are like, they're sticky, like the whole patch is sticky, and you pull off the backing and you can put it anywhere. And so it's lidocaine. I have some of that stuff that like that you get with the aloe vera when you get sunburn, you know, and it has lidocaine on it, you know, and it numbs the whole area. So they have it that they're just like gel patches. So I was sticking them on like down my side, and the ones that were in the hospital, I don't know what percentage they were. But I could wear it for 12 hours and then I would have to take it off for 12 hours, which was not ideal. Okay, so anyways, and she told me that I can get them like over the counter when I get out of the hospital. Thank the Lord. Yes, you can. Okay, these are the ones that these are the ones that I get. I can get them at my local pharmacy. I can get them at Walmart. I think you can get them CVS and Walgreens, those places too. So you cut it along the line here, and it's just a sticky pad that's got like backing on it. And so you take off the backing and you just stick it on you. And you can also cut the patch because you're only supposed to wear, you know what, I don't know if it's one at a time or two at a time. Let's see if it's on here. Don't use more than one patch at a time. So there you go. So if I have separate areas that are really messing with me, I'll actually cut the pad in half and put them in two different places. They really help and they really work. So, okay, so back to the hospital. So nobody knows what is wrong. They don't know about this. They don't understand why it's happening. So I get home. I'm still miserable. I'm having so much trouble. I'm literally having to roll out of bed because I can't sit up without like totally losing my ability to breathe. It hurt really bad when I was breathing because it was like my lungs were expanding and it just felt like an ice pick like every single time I took a breath. It was awful. And okay, so I was searching, and all I put in was like, they put me on muscle relaxers, more muscle relaxers than I'm normally on in the hospital too. Like they took my regular dose and they tripled it, so I was taking my dose 3 times a day. Because that's what it felt like. Like it felt like it was just, I was one big muscle cramp. And so, searching on the internet, searched for feeding tube surgery plus muscle cramp, something like that. And blog posts came up that other people had dealt with it as well. So what it turned out to be was one or more of the sites that was affected, like my stoma or the 3 sutures, hit a bunch of nerves. So every time that I would move or every time when my muscles would contract, it would just light up my entire left side. Oh my gosh, it was so horrible. It took me, so I think it was something like, so I think it took me 32 days for everything to calm down. Not stop, but calm down. And then things really, really didn't settle until the sutures came out, which was 2 days ago. It was horrible. Oh my gosh. I have never had anything like that. So close to breaking my spirit. It made everything horrible. I didn't anticipate a recovery like it was because of the complications. It sure as heck didn't help me mentally. That nobody in the hospital, which is supposed to be this gigantor, super everybody knows everything kind of hospital, nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew how to help me. That was really scary, that nobody knew how to help me, and I was so much pain. So the other blog posts that I had read that people had the same reaction, some of them were like, oh my gosh, mine lasted 7 days, you know, and I thought I was gonna die. And others were like, mine lasted 5 days, you know, like, it was the most horrible 5 days of my life. And I got to 5 days, and then I got to 7 days, and then I got to 2 weeks, and 3 weeks, and 4 weeks, and all of the side effects were still there, and it was just, oh my gosh, nothing has gotten that close to breaking me. It was the most pain I've ever had in my life. That is worse than childbirth, worse than tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy as an adult, worse than a hysterectomy that was atrocious. It was so horrible. Like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody else that ever watches this has to go through it. It was so horrible. But if you're gonna get a feeding tube, I really hope that other people like know about this and that can give you some type of like proper warning about it and have things in place to help you afterwards if it happens, because it is so atrociously horrible. I cannot even express to you, like, I have never been so down, because I was so worried that it was never gonna go away, because every day was just as bad. I can finally take almost a deep breath. I get to a certain point and I can still feel it all seize on my left side, but it's so much better. It was really, really scary. I feel a little bit more confident about tomorrow because I feel better with the sutures out. And so I'm very much hoping that with the tube change tomorrow that it doesn't kick off everything else. Again, that's a really big worry that I've got right now. But my stoma doesn't seem to be what's kicking off the awful. I really think it was one of the top sutures that was doing it. I'm going to cross my fingers that everything is okay tomorrow and it doesn't make it horrible awful like it was again. I'll take you guys on my adventure and we'll get it switched over to a GJ, so hopefully I can finally feed into the right spot. But oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Cross my fingers and toes and legs and everything else. And I'll keep you posted, so I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.